You know, as every nation, a family of churches, we exist to honor God by planting churches and campus ministries in every nation. And we are about to extend to Croatia. Yes, my family and I are responding to the call of God. And we are so convinced that God clearly spoke to us about this step of faith. We've built some beautiful relationships with local church leaders on the ground, and we're excited to see what God is doing in our midst. Now, we'll be planting a church in Zagreb, the metropolitan capital city of Croatia, that's also boasting of a thriving campus of over 70,000 students that's touching the Balkan region. Croatia is part of the Slavic nation in Eastern Europe. It boasts of the most beautiful coasts, mountains, national parks, but the most beautiful part of Croatia is her people. Now, behind this veil, unfortunately, not everything is as it seems. Since the 11th century, Croatia has always been under other nations' rule, led by communistic leaders and facing destructive wars. And unfortunately, there is a rising generation of young people that are following in the footsteps of secularism and postmodernism like the rest of Europe. You know, there's this beautiful legend of how Zagreb, the capital city, got its name. They tell the story that in the 14th century, Croatia was hit by a severe drought, and the people were sent about to go and search for water, and in frustration and desperation, the priest that was residing over this pulled out his sword and he struck the ground and he pierced it into the soil. And as he pulled it out, to his amazement, water started gushing out. And he shouted, "Zagrabite! Zagrabite!" which means to grab or to scoop. And the people ran like crazy and they grabbed the water and they drank, and their thirst was quenched. And they started distributing this water as they scooped, and the drought was ended. Now, listening to this story, there is like a prophetic ring to this. It's souls that thirst for eternal life. And people are running after cisterns of sin and wells of works righteousness and false ideologies to quench their thirst, but they're always left thirsty. But thank God that we know that we have a high priest in Jesus. You know, and he did not strike the ground or pierce the soil, but he himself was struck. He died for our sin and he was poured out. And as we Zagrabite, we scoop, we drink of him, our thirst will be quenched. We are so expectant to get to that nation, to lovingly fall into the rhythms of life with that nation, to point people to Jesus through intentional life-on-life discipleship, and to see the gospel flow into every crevice of society and to touch the Balkans.